Hey everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Concho Sports Show here on Concho Sports Network. I am Shea Harris, coming to you from Concho Sports Network World Headquarters in beautiful San Angelo, Texas. And I'm joined today by my co-host Vincent Salazar. He is a CSN commentator. He has done play-by-play and commentary on our high school football broadcasts, and he also works for Angelo Ram TV and does sports for them too. And he was calling games, baseball and softball games, when everything was pretty much shut down with all the virus pandemic stuff. So welcome, Vince, to the show. How are you doing? How are you holding up so far?
Hey, thank you there, Shea. It's great to be back with you, my friend. It's been really interesting. It's kind of been weird without sports going on right now, but, just kind of taking it day by day, just happy to be healthy, happy to talk with you back here. And, hopefully things get better here pretty soon where I'm really missing sports.
Yeah, and since we're just starting our very first episode, I just want to kind of tell everybody a little bit about what we do here at Concho Sports Network and what the show is going to be about. So we got started. I launched Concho Sports Network in August of 2018, and we've been covering sports since then, including broadcasting on video high school football, which we started with you this past fall. You called every game. You did both color and play-by-play for a few games before we got Darren on to help out, Darren Prater, who's going to be on some episodes also. But our goal here and our mission statement is to support and promote high school athletes, the teams, the schools and everything. And the main way we do that is going to be through broadcasting games. And so far it's gone really well and we're pretty excited about it. And on this show right now, we are going to try to put out episodes once a week. We may do it more than once a week for now because we know people are kind of starving for sports content, and we can at least talk about sports. But we're going to try to do it once a week every Wednesday at least. And we will have guests on, like coaches from the area. We'll talk a lot about area Concho Valley sports. And you might hear my dog in the background whining. He wants to go outside, but he'll have to wait a few minutes. He wants to go play. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about high school sports in the area, a little bit of ASU stuff, and you know a lot about that, and maybe a little bit of other stuff too, maybe non-sports stuff as well as, major college football, NFL, NBA, that kind of stuff every once in a while, depending on what people are kind of interested in hearing. But go ahead and now kind of talk about yourself a little bit and how you ended up at CSN.
Yeah, thank you there, Shea. Well, my name, as you mentioned, Vincent Salazar. It's been a really fun ride for me. I got my start at Angelo State University about, I'd say maybe my junior to senior year, or for Ram TV, they kind of got things going with the sports area, the Ram TV sports. And from there, I was very lucky to get involved, and I became a play-by-play color commentator. Got to call Angelo State Ram football, men and women's basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. From there, I also worked on another program with Ram TV called the ASU Coaches Corner, where I went to go and interview different Angelo State head coaches and ask them about, their weeks ahead and what they're dealing with their athletes and what they're doing to get prepared to win. From there, I was very honored to get the chance to work for a short time also with the Miles football broadcast team, where they were needing a play-by-play man in relief for the current gentleman who had gotten sick at the time. So I was very lucky and fortunate and blessed to have gotten that opportunity. And from then, I got the call from y'all over at Concho Sports Network asking if I'd be available to help out for y'all's first ever inaugural year of the Friday night sports. So I was very happy to get that call. And then from there, I was able to come to work with y'all, both a play-by-play and a color commentator when Darren joined us. And it's been a blast. It's been real fun getting to call a lot of sports out in the Concho Valley. I miss it. I'm currently stuck here in Waco, Texas, so I really miss all of our good friends out there in the Concho Valley. But I'm hoping everybody stays safe, and hopefully we can get back to some of these great sports.
Yeah, and you were mentioning before we went on the air that you basically had gone home to the Waco area for spring break, and that's kind of around when everything kind of got shut down as far as sports go and school. And you've kind of been there for a few weeks now, I guess.
Yeah, I've been I think 3 or 4 weeks, and right at that point, we were right into the middle of Lone Star Conference play for both the Ram baseball team and the Ram Bell softball team. Both were doing very successful right now. The Rams were currently the number one ranked team in the country. Before we were coming back, we were actually trying to figure out who we could get to call and work for the Ram baseball team coming up because they had just gotten done with a series in Austin, and they're going to be playing uh, for that spring break weekend back. So, we were thinking, well, we got another extra week off, and then we'd be right back at it. But now things have completely changed, and the season as we know it's over. So, just very, very weird times we're living in right now.
Yeah, for sure. Um, it's pretty surreal, really. I mean, I don't think anybody has ever really gone in through anything quite like this. And it reminds me, when you were telling your story there, the way we actually got introduced was none other than the fat punter himself, former Angelo State Ram punter Sam Fowler, who is also the former San Angelo Live sports editor, and I think he's sports editor at the Pleasanton Express. I don't
I
know.
think so.
I think that's what it's called. So hey, Sam, thanks a lot for that. And by the way, if you ever want to come on and kind of reminisce about your San Angelo and ASU days, let me know. We'll have you on. So, of course, the big thing that's kind of in everybody's head right now, and it's affecting everybody, is this coronavirus pandemic. So I know you said that you've been there for a few weeks back home and you're doing okay, but how has this affected you so far, other than not being in San Angelo at school calling sports?
Yeah, it's definitely been more of an adjustment to me. I've been used to so much, going out to work at different sporting events, just going also to support, the different Angelo State athletic events going on. I love to keep in touch with all the other high school sports that have been going on, but without that, I've kind of been stuck. I've kind of been messing with my thumbs, as they say, a little bit. I haven't really had any sports to cover. I haven't really been able to even watch more professional sports because a lot of them have been canceled. I think, I turn it either to ESPN or to Fox Sports, and usually what's on there right now is actually putting more video game content on there right now. A lot of older stuff, some documentaries. I think even professional wrestling's been on there, but that's kind of all they've really had. I've kind of been adjusting a little bit to it. It's been really strange, even from a college student look, where I was currently getting ready to do my comp test to try to get my master's degree. But I actually pushed those back into the summer. Me and a few other students, so we're going to try to do it at that point where hopefully things are a little bit better. But even with that, the courses I were taking were very more adjusted to being a one-on-one with a professor and a course of other students to do discussion. So now that's kind of completely changed around to where we've had to adjust to doing different things online. Angelo State, they use a system called Blackboard, which we basically submit all our assignments on, and we do discussion boards on there. But it's a complete different atmosphere than what we had coming in. For me, I have barely been able to leave my home very much. Waco currently has, I think, about 50 to 60 individuals who've been infected with the coronavirus. Thankfully, San Angelo hasn't gotten to that point. But Waco, we've gotten to that more of a higher range, which I thought probably would happen since we're located here in the central Texas region. So thankfully, everybody is playing it safe. Everybody I've seen is practice social distancing. Um, it's just been really strange. I've never seen anything like this. I've never thought we would ever experience anything like this. But it's more of just an eye-opening event, and one that I think everybody's doing a good job here in the state of Texas of being responsible for it. And all we can do now is just try to, as they say, lower the curve, and hopefully we can get back to what's been normal for us in the past.
Right. And I think most people have been pretty responsible. And I mean, it's kind of pretty amazing just seeing how everybody has kind of come together, whether it's the business community or individuals, and to really do what we need to do to, like you said, flatten the curve, so to speak. And hopefully we really start to see the effects of that soon. And you said how many, I think you said maybe 60 or so cases of it in Waco right now. And I think we're only at about 24 right now in San Angelo. That was as of Monday, and we're recording this on Tuesday, and it's probably been updated about now, but I haven't seen that yet. But yeah, we are a little more isolated, a little bit behind as far as it getting spread, but hopefully it won't get too bad here, and hopefully it just starts to get better everywhere really soon. And of course, we're talking about how it affects sports. There are things a lot more important to that than that, but when it comes to sports, it seems hard to imagine right now sports coming back this spring. What are your thoughts on that? And when, in general, do you think sports are going to be able to come back at any level?
Yeah, right now it's very hard to imagine sports being back here in the spring. I know at one point the UIL was hoping to maybe come back during the spring. Of course, now we found out a lot of the school systems are still going to be closed all the way through May. So I don't even think we'll be back in session for regular public schools until the fall. I think right now the closest sport we've seen that is maybe going to try to give it a go at one point would be baseball. Right now, but you look at some of the other sports, and it's very difficult. You look at some of the professional leagues right now. You had the NBA, who is getting ready to wind down. I remember actually being here for spring break. The game they announced when the Dallas Mavericks were playing against the Denver Nuggets. That during that game, they immediately broadcasted that this would be the last game for quite a while because we wouldn't know when they would come back. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. You look at a lot of the major soccer leagues right now; they would be getting going in their time to play, and right now we don't know when they'll be back. The XFL, which was the newest professional football league that just started up, was unable to even complete their opening season, and they were off to a very promising start as being an alternative for spring football. Right now, the biggest talk is the NFL draft, which will be coming up here in a few weeks. That one will be probably easily more broad to be broadcasted since individuals kind of stay home for that. But, there's still a question on how that'll affect the NFL opening season. Did I get lost there?
And
Okay.
no, we're good.
Okay.
So I did see, you mentioned the UIL and sports coming back this spring. They did actually say a couple of days ago on Sunday that they were still committed to trying to do it, but it's really dependent on if people come back to school. And I don't know if that's going to happen. So it's going to be tough, but they're really wanting to do the state championships. And it looks like your video did freeze. So hold on for just a second. All right, everybody, we're back. Vince's video stream kept freezing, so we've got his audio, but we've got a picture of him up. So we were talking about the UIL possibly, hoping to finish the spring sports championships, which is probably, it may be unlikely because school would probably have to come back in before the end of the school year. So I don't know if that might happen. And then I know you were talking about the NFL draft might be the next thing that we actually get to watch that's sports related. But so with all of this, I know you've had probably more free time on your hands like most people have, especially if we're not in the business of being an essential worker in an essential industry where we have to be out physically at our jobs every week or every day. So what have you been doing, to kind of pass time? I know you've been doing schoolwork and that kind of thing online, but have you been watching any new TV shows, binging anything, any movies or anything like that?
Well, I've kind of been watching a little bit of professional wrestling. That's always kind of been my favorite. They're still trying to go a little bit. It's been weird. That's another thing that's really been affected with the virus. A lot of the shows I've watched, there's no crowds in there, and if you're a fan of professional wrestling, one thing you have to have pretty much is a crowd. So that's kind of been a new adjustment for that. I wasn't exactly the biggest television I know probably before the number one thing I always had on TV was sports. So that's kind of been one thing I'm trying to get around is trying to look around different TV shows. I know for sure I usually enjoy watching Live PD on A&E and Cops on Paramount Network. And I think there's another show called Bar Rescue. So there's a few shows I kind of been binging a little bit, watching here and there. But it's still just kind of channel surfing a little bit. You know, it's kind of a new norm for me. I'm used to usually turning it either to one of the ESPNs or one of the Foxes and finding either a football game or a basketball game on or, some type of show. And it's just kind of been real weird trying to adjust to that. So, but I'm making do with what I can, just kind of doing other little things to keep me busy here and there until kind of we get a little bit more normalcy back in play.
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm with you there for the most part. I don't watch a whole lot of TV or watch a whole lot of movies anymore. And a lot of times, if I have something on, it's going to be sports. Even if I'm not specifically watching a certain game, I might have it on in the background if I have anything on. The one thing I have been watching lately that's pretty good is Ozark on Netflix. It's a really good show.
Okay.
It's got that kind of Breaking Bad vibe if you ever watch that, but that's one of my all-time favorite shows. Um, just finished the first season a couple of days ago of Ozark. It's really good. And I've watched a few movies and other things, but for the most part, you know, there's not a whole lot to watch. Not a whole lot to do. I've been keeping myself busy with work stuff because I do, you know, one thing that's not so different for me is that I do work out of my home office. I usually will go out a lot, to cover events, whether it's sports or other things and business meetings, things like that. But other than that, it's business as usual as far as, being in my home office on most days. Um, so here's one thing. You can't really get a haircut now. How are you as far as that goes? I know you like to wear a cap and you're wearing one today, but uh, have you been needing a haircut lately?
Funny enough, when I came back for spring break, that was the one thing I did get was a haircut. And that's probably before things were really shutting down and whatnot. So right now, my hair is okay. Usually my hair grows back pretty fast. So I guess in the coming weeks we'll have to figure out where that goes. I might ask, the old-fashioned way where my mom used to give me haircuts. So maybe I might go to her. Normally I only have my barber for 27 years. I've only gone to one barber.
Wow.
But now with this, you kind of have to change things up a little bit. So right now I'm okay. My cap is sufficing, but eventually I'm going to have to figure that out where I'll go for that next step.
Yeah, you're lucky that you got one in just before things got shut down as far as that goes. I had not had a haircut since right before Christmas, and my hair was really just kind of out of control, long and curly, and I pretty much gave myself a haircut because I do have some clippers. Because I used to give myself buzz cuts a lot most of the time before I started actually going back out and getting a proper haircut. But yeah, last week I gave in and just had to shave it all off because it was getting really big because my
Yeah,
hair
no,
grows out.
yeah,
Um,
mine kind of does a similar thing where it starts getting all curled and whatnot, and it becomes a mess. So I completely understand.
so one of the things I wanted to talk about is just our experience this fall doing the high school football game of the week on Concho Sports Network. It was our first season video broadcasting any sports on CSN, and really nobody else around here does high school sports like that. So it was a lot of fun. It was definitely an adventure because it was our first time as a crew and a very small crew to actually do this. Like the first few games really were it was you, me, and a cameraman for the most part in every game. So three people running a broadcast, and we definitely had challenges, but it went pretty smooth and it was a total blast. But what were your thoughts as we got going, as we got started? Especially for you, it was tough because we had a second broadcaster lined up, which fell through. So until we found a new one for the first almost probably half of the season, you were kind of doing double duty, calling the game and trying to fill in, time, so there wasn't dead air, giving some commentary also. So what was your experience like?
Yeah, it definitely was more of a challenge. For some sports at ASU, I've been used to doing play-by-play by myself. Some sports you can, but a sport like football, usually you'll have you'll either be the play-by-play or the color. It's usually a two-man job. So it definitely was quite a challenge in doing so until Darren came on. When Darren came on, things became a lot less of a workload in a way, and it became much more smoother in trying to identify the players on the field and getting to call the plays or, kind of announcing the game. But, it was a fun experience. You have, as we mentioned, challenges when we got out of the gate. Of course, you're going to have those, starting fresh off of nothing. But, we really improved as the season went on. It became a lot of fun. We got to see a lot of different West Texas cities here in the Concho Valley, some, that don't get a lot of exposure compared to some of the others. So it was a lot of fun getting to call those. We had a lot of different situations that happened. We had a lot of great games. We got to see a lot of great athletes who I think, going forward are going to be phenomenal in the continuing of their high school careers into most likely collegiate careers at varying different levels. So, it was a lot of fun, and it really was a great chance to get to see the spirit of West Texas, really unfold right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it really was a lot of fun. I mean, we got to see, like you said, a lot of teams, a lot of towns, a lot of stadiums. Each stadium kind of has its own character, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to experience that. Like, really, unless you're in the media, you're not going to get to see a different team and a different school every week. So that was a great experience being able to do that, of course. And also, I got to build a lot of great relationships with coaches and administrators, athletic directors and things like that, and everybody was really, really accommodating. Just pretty amazing, the way they embraced everything and embraced us. So that was awesome. So let's talk about some of your favorite moments from this past fall, both in terms of the game itself and then just the experience, maybe behind the scenes stuff and anything else that happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of great games. I think for us, probably the most for some of the wall games we got to go call. Phenomenal football, at its best. We saw a fantastic defense from the Hawks and offense as well. We could see why they made their run in the playoffs. A lot of those teams in that district, as well as within the Miles district, we saw a lot of great teams play within there. We saw so many different variations of offenses. We saw teams playing from the shotgun. We saw teams playing from the pistol. Some were utilizing more of that spread offense, while others were kind of keeping it more on the ground. So we got to see a lot of different utilizations here in West Texas. There was a good reason why in the past this area was called the Small Town Southwest Conference. And it's very easy to see why from how many, different styles we got to see from a lot of these teams. And like you mentioned, all the different stadiums, they were all unique in their own ways. We talked about a little bit, probably the story or most interesting moment that stands out to me the most was our trip out of Winters, Texas, where we got to see the Winters go up against Cristobal, who were both actually very phenomenal teams this season. Cristobal had brought their student section with them, and we called the game on the away side. I think for that game, the press box wasn't big enough. Right. So we actually called it to the right of the press box outside in the bleachers. And the students, I think for every touchdown, they had baby powder, and they just threw it all in the air. And yeah. I don't remember, I think the wind was blowing
we were downwind.
That game. Yeah, so we were covered just completely in that baby powder. I know I was wearing my black polo shirt for the game, and by the end of it, it was all white. I know all our equipment was doused in baby powder. I don't know how long it took y'all to get that off the cameras and your laptops, and
there's still little bits of it.
Yes, yeah, and I feel like that even my notes that I had with me. I always had my notes, and my whole little booklet I had was covered with that all the way to the end of the year. So that's definitely one. I know I made several comments on that during the game about the baby powder, but it was just kind of those one little things, and it's just we talk about that, and that's just kind of also the spirit of a lot of those high school football teams, where a lot of the fans really do get into it like that. We were very fortunate to get to call several homecoming games as well, so to get to see those hometown crowds really turn out to those games. It was phenomenal. We got to see. I think we went to Reagan County where we saw that really beautiful sunset sitting
Oh yeah.
on the horizon. Just some things uh, you take for granted and you don't really think about, but for calling our games here in West Texas, you see why it's kind of more than just a sport. It's kind of more of that community feel where a lot of the community comes out to watch the games and they get to experience all these different things that you just kind of don't get, I think, in some other regions of the state. So it was a lot of fun, and I think it was really awesome that we got to capture it on our network. So it was a fun first year, and I think going on in the future, it's going to be a phenomenal outing as well. I can't wait for even more stories that we could get to do, some more bigger matchups that are going to happen. We saw some teams also go through the realignment from the UIL, so I think it's going to create even more great stories going forward, as I know for sure one West Texas team still wants to end up, at Jerry World to bring a state championship back home to West Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of great stories to tell, and each community, each stadium we go to, it has its own kind of its own atmosphere, its own personality, and it was a lot of fun. Like you were talking about in Winters, we actually got to call two Winters games in Winters, and that the first one you talked about was the baby powder game. What I remember about it, and when I looked down a minute ago, I was looking at my mixer that I'm using because I used that at that game, my audio mixer, and it's still got a little bit of baby powder on it, and it's hard to get it out of the nooks and crannies. But I mean, it still works great. It just, I just remember laughing during the game and laughing at your commentary on that a few times during the game, and then of course the other thing that reminds me of that sticks out for me is the other game in Winters when they later in the season when they hosted Ozona, which was another really good game, and we were actually down a cameraman, so we did not have a cameraman. So it was me. I was directing and switching and monitoring everything. And then you and Darren calling the game. And by the way, Darren, we've mentioned him a couple times. He did a fantastic job. We're going to have him on the show probably regularly. And I mean, he did an amazing job this year and did everything. I asked him to do a lot this year besides just these game broadcasts, and he did a great job. But it was just the three of us because we didn't have a cameraman, so had one hand operating the camera while doing all of the switching and monitoring audio and everything else. And actually it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but we got it done. But the interesting thing, and I know you know what I'm about to bring up, is in the fourth quarter, it was about when the game was, I mean, it was a great game, but it was kind of not in doubt at that point. It was at least halfway through the quarter. And I noticed that one of my monitor batteries was either dead or the monitor was about to die. So we went to a commercial break and I was going to go around really quick and swap out the battery. And my foot got caught on a cable or something because I was in a hurry, or I don't know if it was a cable or the actual bench step, but I hit that and everything went in slow motion. But I took a couple of big steps to try to brace myself, but I was going down, so I was able to at least plan my landing, but I did fall, got right back up, and I had knocked the tripod over that had one of the cameras on it, and got everything back and going. And we missed a couple of plays, but we didn't really miss a beat for the most part, other than missing a couple of plays. The good thing is it was late in the game, and I think you and Darren were just more shocked about it than I was, because I just wanted to get up and get it going again. But you guys kind of had a deer in the headlights look after seeing me take a tumble like that. And a lot of the people, because again, we were outside for that game as well, outside of the press box, so we were near the fans, and they were kind of concerned that maybe I'd gotten hurt, but I didn't, because I was able to brace my fall. But that was interesting. I mean, what were you thinking when that happened? I mean, you probably,
Yeah,
I think
I
people
was
thought I was
scared to
probably
death
hurt.
when we were calling the game. I think, as you mentioned, we were winding down. I just happened to catch it from the side of my eye, where I heard like a big banging noise. I saw the tripod go, and then you were right behind it. And like you said, things just kind of slowed down in slow motion. The next thing I knew, you were lying down in the bleachers thinking, oh no, this is not how we needed the end of the year to go. So I immediately yanked off my headset and worked my way down to try to make sure you were okay. I think there was an older gentleman Kind of sitting a little bit of ways down as well. He got up to check on you, and amazing when you popped right back up. I was thinking, oh, this is not good at all. But thankfully, you popped right back up. You got the you got the tripod and the camera up. You laid it all on the line for that. But yeah, I think me and Darren, we were both like scared to death. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, out of every game, everything has gone good so far this season to where nobody got hurt. And then finally we had it in the very last game where our producer was the one who ended up getting hurt. So, but we were happy that you were okay. That was the most important part, was that you were great. We can always say we can always replace our cameras and whatnot, but it's a person that's really important. So we're happy that you were okay. But yeah, I think Winners is definitely one of our spots to where interesting things happen to us for the broadcast, whether it be baby powder or tripping and falling down. Yeah. So, if we ever get another game in Winners, I'm going to have to bring like, Lucky Rabbit's feet or something out there. You never know what's going to happen out in Winners.
Yeah, that was definitely an experience. And I mean, we had a great time in Winners, and Coach McCarty there is a great guy, and we had a lot of fun with that. Let's see. Yeah, so I think really that's probably a good place to end it. Talking a bit about our past season. And one thing we were going to do starting this month in April, when district high school baseball was starting, is start to cover and broadcast district baseball games and softball games. And of course, bad timing, we didn't get to do that. So we went ahead and got this show started. And I'm really excited about the show. We're going to try to come on at least once a week. We may do it more, especially if we can line up enough guests to kind of keep people entertaining over the next, several weeks or so, when people are kind of cooped up and kind of going a little stir crazy. Hopefully give people things to watch. But look out for us at least every Wednesday, and we're going to be trying to stream these out live at about 6 p.m. on Wednesdays. And another thing I want to mention, we are going to be putting it out as an actual audio podcast. So if that is the way anybody prefers to ingest this kind of content, we will be uploading our broadcasts to places like iTunes and Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play Music, things like that, where you usually listen to podcasts. And also, we want to remind you to follow us. You can see, right here over my shoulder on all social media like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. You can follow us. It's Concho Sports everywhere. So facebook.com/Concho Sports and so on. And then also we do have Amazon Fire TV and Roku apps, where if you want to watch the games on your TV, and this content, this show is going to be on there, and anything we do as far as video is going to be on there, so you can watch it on your TV. And if you don't have a Roku or Amazon Fire TV and you do have a smart TV, you can watch us on YouTube if there's a YouTube app on your TV. So really pretty much anywhere that you like to watch or listen to something, you can watch it there, whether it's on your TV, an iPad, your phone, your PC, laptop, whatever. We make it as convenient as possible. Also, check us out at conchosports.com. And also want to thank our sponsor for this. You can see it right here, Wingstop in San Angelo on Knickerbocker Road in Southwest Plaza. Right now, one of the most important things we need to do right now is actually support our local businesses and our restaurants. You can go to Wingstop for pickup, curbside pickup, or you can order online, get it delivered, or go pick it up. And give them a call at 325-227-6777. I think that's kind of small on my screen right now. I believe that's it. But I want to thank them. They've been a great supporter since before this past football season. Definitely one of our biggest supporters, and we love Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road. Anyway, Vince, had a lot of fun having you on, and hopefully, we'll have you on regularly as our co-host and get on with some guests and have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's been great. Great to finally get back to talk with you here on the Sports Network. So I'd be more than happy to be back with us. And, anything we can provide for entertainment for the Concho Valley, I've been more than happy to lend a hand in that.
Yeah, it was great talking to you. You know, we haven't seen each other or talked to each other in quite a while now, so it was nice to catch up. And I just want to thank everybody again for watching, and we'll see you next week.